I have been reading these accounts for the Near Death Experiences channel for a long time, and if there is one thing I have learned, it is that we all think we know what the last moment looks like. We think it is a car crash or a hospital bed. We think it is something big. But for a lot of people who write in, it is just another Tuesday. It's just the middle of a sentence. I am Zeke, and I have been sitting with John's story since it came in yesterday. John is 32, a telemarketer in Seattle, and 2 days ago he was just trying to hit his numbers. He was an atheist. He did not have a category for what happened to him. What got me about his account was the noise. He describes this world as a place of constant grinding sound, and then he describes what happens when that sound finally cuts out. It made me look at my own room differently, just wondering what is under the surface of the quiet we think we have. I want to let him tell it because the way he describes the last normal thing he did, just a simple sales script, really sets the stage for where he ended up. The coffee in the break room always smells like it is burning. That is the first thing I remember from that morning. It is Monday, June 15th. And the rain is hitting the windows of the office in Seattle, that gray, misty rain that never really stops. I am at my desk, cubicle 412. I have my headset on and the plastic is digging into the top of my head, like it always does by 10 in the morning. I am 32 years old and I am tired. I am so tired that my hands are shaking on the keyboard. I am an atheist, or I was, and my whole world is just the next call, the next quota. If I do not close 3 more home security packages by noon, Dave is going to pull me into the glass office and talk about my performance metrics again. I am on a call with a woman. I think her name was Mrs. Gable. She is in Ohio, I think. I am reading the script. I know it by heart. I do not even have to look at the screen. I am saying, Mrs. Gable, I understand your concern about the monthly fee, but can you really put a price on the safety of your front door? My chest feels tight. I think it is just the caffeine. I've had 4 cups of that burnt office sludge. I keep going. I am pushing for the close, but the room starts to tilt. It is a slow tilt at first, like I am on a boat. The flickering LED light above Dave's cubicle is getting brighter. It is usually just a dull hum, but now it sounds like a jet engine. I try to take a breath, but my lungs feel like they are full of wet sand. I drop the mouse. I hear it hit the desk. Clack. Mrs. Gable is still talking. She is saying something about her grandson. I want to tell her I'm sorry, but I cannot get the words out. Everything goes gray. Not black, just this flat, dull gray, like the Seattle sky. My headset slips. I feel the air hit my ear for a second, and then I hear the sound of the plastic hitting the floor. And then, silence. I'm looking at the top of the filing cabinet. That is the first thing I notice. I'm floating. I'm right against the ceiling tiles, the ones with the little black dots in them. I can see the dust up here. It is thick and gray. I look down and I see myself. It is a weird thing, seeing your own body from the outside. I look small. I look like a heap of cheap suit fabric and pale skin. My face is pressed against the keyboard. The auto dialer is still running. I can see the green light on the console blinking over and over. Dave is running over. He is yelling something, but I cannot hear him. It is like I am underwater, or like the world is on mute. I am not scared. That is the part that does not make sense. I am a guy who worries about everything. Rent, my car's transmission, my blood pressure. But up here by the ceiling, I do not care about the quota. I do not care that I am probably dying. I just feel light. I feel like I finally finished a double shift and I am finally allowed to go home. Then the room starts to stretch. The cubicle walls get long and thin like they're made of pulled sugar. The office is disappearing. The gray tiles are melting away. I am moving backward, fast, like someone tied a rope to my waist and is hauling me into the wall. I go through the wall, but it does not feel like anything. No wood, no insulation, just a shift in the air. And then I am in the tunnel. Everyone talks about the light at the end of the tunnel, but they do not talk about the tunnel itself. For me, it is not dark. It is the color of a summer night in the city, that deep, bruised purple. It feels warm, not hot, just heavy, like a thick blanket that has been sitting in the sun. I am moving through it, and the further I go, the more the noise of the world falls away. The sound of the office, the ringing phones, the sirens outside on the street, it all just dissolves. I am an atheist. I'm thinking, okay, this is it. This is the brain dumping DMT. This is the nervous system shutting down and creating a final hallucination to keep the ego from panicking. I am trying to be rational about it. I'm telling myself, Gian, you are just flatlining. This is a chemical reaction, but the warmth is too real. It does not feel like a thought. It feels like a place. I am moving faster now. The purple is turning into something else. It is getting brighter, but it is a soft brightness. It does not hurt my eyes. It is like the sun coming through a frosted window. I can feel my heart, not the one in my chest because that one is stopped, but a different kind of pulse. It is steady. It is the only sound left. I reach the end of the purple and I just stop. I am standing on something that feels solid, but I cannot see my feet. Everything is white. Not a hospital white. Not that sterile, cold color. It is a white that feels like it has a weight to it. I look around, and for the first time in 32 years, I do not feel like I'm waiting for something to go wrong. I do not feel like I am on a timer. I have heard a lot of people describe that tunnel, but the way Gian talks about the sound, or the lack of it, is what I keep coming back to. He spent his whole day with a headset on, listening to people complain or hang up on him, and then suddenly, he is in this deep, bruised purple silence. I noticed that a few weeks ago in a story from a guy who worked in a machine shop. He said the same thing, that the first thing he felt wasn't the light, it was the fact that his ears finally stopped ringing. I honestly wonder if the afterlife meets us where we are most tired. If you are exhausted by noise, it gives you quiet. If you are cold, it gives you heat. It makes me want to know from you, if you have ever been in a situation where you felt like you were slipping away, what was the first sense that changed? Was it what you saw, or was it the sound of the room changing? I am curious if that baseline is different for everyone. I am standing in this white space and I am waiting for the credits to roll. I am waiting for the lights to come up and for me to just be nothing. That is what I always believed. You die, the lights go out, and that is the end of the story. No more Gian, no more bills. But the white space is not empty. I start to see things. It is like a fog is clearing. I am not in a room anymore. I am in a place that is so big, I cannot see the edges of it. I look up, and the sky, if you can call it a sky, is a color I do not have a word for. It is not blue. It is not green. It is like every color I have ever seen got pressed together until it turned into something new. And then I see the figure. He is standing about 20 feet away from me. I do not see a throne yet. I do not see angels with wings. I just see a man. But the air around him is different. It is wobbling, like the heat coming off the pavement in August. I can feel him before I can really see his face. It is a pressure in the air. It is a weight that makes me want to sit down. I am an atheist. I am looking at him and I am saying to myself, no, this is the culture. This is the Sunday school stories my grandmother tried to tell me when I was 6. My brain is just grabbing the nearest available icon to make sense of the void. I am arguing with myself while I'm standing there. I am trying to find the exit. But then he moves. He takes a step toward me and the white ground ripples like water. He is wearing something simple, a long, light-colored garment, but it is not the clothes that matter. It is his eyes. When he looks at me, I feel like every sales call I ever made, every lie I told to get a commission, every time I ignored a homeless person on the street, it is all just hanging there between us. He sees it all. He sees the real me, the one I do not even show my girlfriend. He sees the Gian who is scared and cynical and angry at the world for being so hard. And he does not look at me with pity. He looks at me like he has been waiting for me to finish my shift. Jesus. That is the name that pops into my head. I do not want it to be true. I want it to be a mistake. I want to be in a void where nothing matters. But he is the most solid thing I have ever seen. Compared to him, the call center in Seattle feels like a dream. The hospital bed I'm probably lying in feels like a shadow. He holds out a hand. His skin is tan, and I can see the lines in his palm. It looks like a hand that has actually worked, not like the soft hands of the managers at my office. Gian, he says. His voice is not loud. It is not like thunder. It is more like a sound that is happening inside my own chest. It is a vibration. It makes my teeth ache, but in a good way. I am not supposed to be here, I say. My voice sounds thin. It sounds like a ghost. I am an atheist. I do not believe in you. He gives a small smile. It is the kind of smile a teacher gives you when you finally get the answer right. I know, he says, but I believe in you. He reaches out and touches my shoulder. The moment his fingers hit the fabric of my shirt, the white space disappears. The big, colorless room is gone. Suddenly, we are standing on a glass floor. It is clear, and underneath it, I can see the whole world. It looks like a map, but it is moving. I see cities, I see oceans, I see the lights of 1 billion lives. But some of the lights are different. Some of them are bright and steady, but others are flickering. Some are a weird, sickly yellow color, and some are just dark patches where the light should be. Look, Jesus says, he is not pointing at the mountains or the sunsets. He is pointing at the lights. My heart is heavy, Gian, he says. And I see it now. I see the sorrow in his face. It is a weight that seems to pull at the air around him. The joy is there, but underneath it, there is this massive, deep grief. It is like he is carrying the sadness of everyone on that map at the same time. I have brought you here because the places that are supposed to carry my name have become dangerous, he says. My children are being led into a maze and they do not know how to get out. I'm looking at the map and I see a cluster of those sickly yellow lights. They are all over America. They are in the big cities and the small towns. You have to see this, he says. You have to tell them what you see, because time is not what you think it is. The clock is running down. I feel his hand tighten on my shoulder. It is a firm grip. It feels like he is anchoring me to the spot so I do not drift away. We are going to go down there, he says. I am going to show you the 4 things that are breaking my heart. Before I can ask what he means, the glass floor begins to dissolve. We are falling. Not a scary fall, but a fast one. The map is rushing up to meet us. The lights are getting bigger. I can see buildings now. I can see steeples. I can see parking lots full of cars. We are heading straight for one of those massive, glowing yellow lights. It looks like a stadium from up here. Watch the sails, Gian, Jesus says. His voice is different now. It is sharp. It is the voice of someone who is seeing something he hates. You know about the pitch, he says to me. You know how to manipulate a heart to get what you want. Watch how they do it in my name. We land in a parking lot. It is hot. The sun is beating down on rows and rows of luxury SUVs. I can smell the asphalt and the expensive perfume of the people walking toward the glass doors of the building. I look at the sign. It is a church, but it does not look like any church I have ever seen. It looks like a corporate headquarters. It looks like a place where they track performance metrics. I am just a telemarketer, I say. I do not know anything about religion. Jesus looks at me, and his eyes are like fire. That is why I chose you, he says. You know a scam when you hear one. I have heard a lot of these accounts where people see the darker side of things, but I usually hear them from people who are already religious. They use words like demons or spirits. But Gian is looking at this through the eyes of a guy who has spent 10 years in a cubicle trying to talk people out of their credit card numbers. When he describes the entities in that church, he does not describe them as monsters. He describes them as high-pressure closers. That is a detail I have not heard before, and it makes the whole thing feel much more grounded and, honestly, a lot more disturbing. It makes me think about how we all have a filter for the truth, and Gian's filter is built out of every bad sales call he has ever had to sit through. We walk through the glass doors. I am expecting the air to be cold, because that is how those big buildings usually feel in Seattle, but it is warm and sticky. It smells like expensive cologne and floor wax. There's a lobby that looks like a high-end hotel, leather chairs, coffee bars, screens everywhere showing guy with very white teeth laughing and holding a Bible. Jesus is walking right next to me. People are passing through him, or we are passing through them. I cannot really tell. It is like we are on a different frequency. He is silent, but I can feel the tension in him. It is like he is a live wire. Look at the ears, Gian, he says. I look at the people in the lobby. They look normal, happy even, but then my eyes shift. I do not know how to explain it, but it's like I'm seeing 2 things at once. I see the people, but I also see these things. They are not ghosts. They look like shadows that have been stretched out until they are thin as wires. They are perched on the shoulders of the people. They have their mouths right against the people's ears, and their fingers are moving fast like they are typing on invisible keyboards. They are whispering the hooks, Jesus says. His voice is flat and hard. We walk into the main room. It is massive. There must be 5,000 people in here. The lights go down and the music starts. It is loud. It has this heavy driving beat that you feel in your stomach. It's designed to get your heart rate up. In the call center, we call this creating urgency. If you can get the customer's heart beating faster, they are more likely to make an impulsive decision. A guy walks out on stage. He is wearing a suit that probably costs more than my car. He has this big, easy smile. He starts talking about seeds. God told me this morning that there is someone here with a $20,000 seed in their pocket. He yells. He is pacing the stage. He is good. I mean, I have listened to the best closers in the business, and this guy is better. He knows exactly when to pause. He knows how to use his voice to make you feel like you are part of a secret club. He is hitting the pain points. He talks about debt. He talks about sickness. He says, you want to get out of that hospital bill? You want to see your business grow? Then you have to show God you trust him. Release the seed. I look at the shadows on the people's shoulders. They are going crazy. They are leaning in, whispering faster and faster. I see a woman a few rows ahead of us. She is older. She is wearing a coat that looks like it has seen better days. Her hands are shaking as she pulls out a credit card. She is crying. She looks terrified, but she is also hopeful. It is that desperate hope that you only see when someone is at the end of their rope. The shadow on her shoulder is stroking her hair. It looks like it is comforting her, but it is actually just holding her in place. She is paying for her own rent with that card, Jesus says. He is standing right behind her now. He reaches out like he wants to touch her, but he stops. His hand is trembling. The man on stage is telling her that if she gives, God is obligated to pay her back tenfold. It is a contract. It is a transaction. This is not my house, Jesus says. He turns to me, and his eyes are wet. They have turned me into a vending machine. They have taken the news that was supposed to set people free and turned it into a debt trap. He looks around the room, and for a second, the building seems to shake. The shadows on the shoulders flinch. They look up, sniffing the air like they can sense him. But the people just keep cheering. I see the spiritual cost then. It is not just the money. I see a dark cord, like a greasy rope, wrapping around the woman's heart. Every time the preacher says seed, the cord gets tighter. She is not getting closer to God. She is getting addicted to the pitch. She is waiting for the big win, like she is at a slot machine in a casino. Jesus takes my hand. We have to go, he says. I cannot stay in this room. The scene shifts. It does not feel like we are moving through space. It is more like the world just turns a page. We are in a different building now. This one is younger, cooler. It is in a converted warehouse with exposed brick and Edison bulbs. There are no suits here. Everyone is in jeans and t-shirts. The sign outside does not even say church. It says the Life Center. There is a band on stage playing what sounds like indie rock. The lyrics are vague. They are talking about the light and the feeling and the pull. You could play this song on the radio and no one would know it was about anything spiritual. Jesus stands in the back, near the soundboard. He looks tired. He looks like a man who has been walking for days without sleep. Listen to the message, John, he says. A guy comes out. He looks like he could be my age. He is funny. He tells a story about his dog. He talks about how to have a better work-life balance. He talks about unlocking your potential. I am listening and I am waiting for the point. I am waiting for the part where he mentions the man standing next to me, but he never does. He talks about the universe and the divine, but it is all soft. It is all smooth. There are no rough edges. It is seeker-friendly, I say. That is what they call it, right? Jesus looks at the stage. They are afraid of the cross, he says. They think if they show the blood, the people will run away. They think if they talk about sin, the seats will be empty. I see the spirit realm here too. It is different from the other church. There are no shadows on the shoulders. Instead, there is a thick gray smog hanging from the ceiling. It is like a heavy mist that is settling over the crowd. It makes everyone look sleepy. They are nodding, they are smiling, but their eyes are blank. They are being entertained into a coma, Jesus says. They come here to feel good for 45 minutes and then they go back to their lives exactly the same as they were. They are not being saved. They are being managed. He walks toward the stage. He is walking through the mist, and where he moves, the air clears for a second, but the mist just rolls back in behind him. I look at a group of college kids in the front row. They look like they are searching for something. They have this hunger in their faces, but the guy on stage is giving them a motivational speech. He is giving them a 5-step plan for a better marriage. He is giving them a life hack for stress. My sheep are starving, Jesus says, and the shepherds are busy building their brands. He turns back to me. The sadness in his face is so heavy now that I can feel it in my own chest. It is a physical weight. It is hard to breathe. They have traded the truth for a trend, he says. They are so busy being relevant that they have become useless. Suddenly the music gets louder. The band is doing a big finish. The lights are flashing. It is a great show. If I were still an atheist, which I guess I am technically, or I'm trying to be, I would think this was a great way to spend a Sunday. It is clean, it is positive, it is nice. But Jesus is standing there in the middle of the aisle, and he is weeping. He is not just crying a little bit. His whole body is shaking with it. They are dying, Gian, he says. They are dying in the mist, and they think they are in the light. I want to reach out and tell him it is okay, but I know it is not. I am a telemarketer. I know what it looks like when you give someone a product that does not work. I know what it looks like when you lie to a customer just to keep them on the line. This is the ultimate bad sale, I think. They are selling a heaven that does not require a change. They are selling a grace that does not have a cross. We have to move, Jesus says. He wipes his face with his sleeve. There is one more thing, the most dangerous one. The room starts to blur. The music turns into a dull roar, and then it goes silent. That gray smog Gian described, the one that makes everyone look sleepy, that is something I have heard in at least 3 other accounts this year. People describe it as a spiritual anesthetic. It is like the atmosphere in those places is designed to keep people from feeling the weight of anything real. I keep wondering if our professional backgrounds give us a specific sight when we go over. Gian sees the sales hooks and the management of the crowd because that is his world. I would genuinely like to know if you have a background in investigation or law or even something like accounting where your job is to find the gap between what is said and what is true. Have you ever felt that smog in a place that was supposed to be holy? I'm curious if those warnings are always tailored to the person seeing them. The warehouse dissolves, and for a second we are back on that glass floor above the map. The map is darker now, the yellow lights are everywhere. Jesus is looking down at a specific light. It is a huge complex. It looks like a small city. This is where the man becomes the monument, he says. We descend, but this time it does not feel like we are falling. It feels like we are being pulled into a vacuum. The air is thick and static. My skin feels like it is crawling. We are in a hallway. It is quiet. It is decorated with gold leaf frames and thick plush carpet. There are pictures on the wall. They are all of the same man. He is sitting in a jet. He is standing on a stage with a world leader. He is laughing on a talk show. Jesus walks past the pictures. He does not even look at them. He walks straight toward a set of double doors at the end of the hall. Inside, there is a man sitting behind a desk that is the size of a small car. He is talking on the phone. He is shouting. I do not care about the budget, he says. I am the one with the vision. I am the one God talks to. If they do not like the direction we are going, they can find another church. Jesus stands in front of the desk. The man does not see him. He is too busy looking at himself in a mirror on the side wall. He is practicing his anointed look. He has stolen the keys. Jesus says, I see the spirits here too. They are different. They are bigger. They are not thin like the ones in the first church. They are bloated. They look like they have been eating for 100 years. They are wrapped around the man like vines. They are feeding him thoughts of his own greatness. He thinks he is me, Jesus says, and the people believe him. He takes me into the sanctuary. It is packed. The man walks onto the stage and the crowd goes wild. They are not cheering for God. They are cheering for him. They are chanting his name. I see a man in the front row. He is holding a piece of cloth that the preacher blessed. He is rubbing it on his eyes, weeping, begging for a miracle. He is looking at the preacher like he is a god. This is the priesthood of the self, Jesus says. I tore the veil so they could come to me, but this man has built a new veil and he has put his own face on it. The air in the room is heavy with a strange, sweet smell. It is like rotting fruit. It is the smell of the bloated spirits. They are everywhere in the crowd, weaving a web between the people and the stage. The web is made of loyalty. It is made of fear. If they leave him, they think they are leaving me, Jesus says. I look at the people, and I see the same dark cords I saw in the Prosperity Church. But these are different. These cords are tied to the preacher's hands. He is moving his fingers, and the crowd moves with him. It is a puppet show. Jesus reaches out and touches the web. It pulses with a dark, angry light. This is the trap of the celebrity, he says. It is the most subtle, because it looks like success. It looks like growth. But it is just a prison with a very nice lobby. He looks at me and his face is hard. He is not weeping anymore. He is angry. Tell them, Gian. Tell them that I'm the only head of the church. Tell them that any man who puts his own name above mine is a thief. I will try, I say. But who is going to listen to me? I am a telemarketer. I am a nobody. Jesus puts a hand on my chest. I can feel the heat of it through my skin. You are a witness, he says. And a witness only has to say what he saw. The room starts to spin. The preacher's voice becomes a screech. The lights are blinding. One more, Jesus says. The final warning. We are moving again, faster this time. The glass floor is gone. The map is gone. We are in a dark room. It feels like a boardroom. I can hear voices whispering. We have to be inclusive, a voice says. We have to update the definitions. We cannot use those old words anymore. It is about love. I look at Jesus. He is standing in the corner, and he looks like he is being crushed. They are redefining the poison, he says. This is where the story turns for me. We've gone through the big, flashy stuff, the money, the rock concerts, the celebrity pastors, but what Gian describes next is something much quieter. It is a meeting. It is a group of people in a room trying to be nice. I've read a lot of these accounts where the danger is a monster or a fire, but for Gian, the danger is a group of leaders in a boardroom editing a document. It is so corporate, so modern, that it caught me off guard. Gian knows exactly what it looks like when a company realizes their product is offending people and they decide to rebrand the problem away. He is watching the church do a PR pivot on the very concept of right and wrong, and the way he describes the spiritual weight of that edit is something I haven't been able to stop thinking about since I read it. The room is cold. It is that specific kind of cold you get in an office building when the AC is cranked up too high to keep the servers from melting. It feels like a boardroom. There is a long table made of dark wood and people are sitting around it. They look important. They look like they are used to making big decisions. I am standing in the corner with Jesus. He is leaning against the wall and he looks like he is watching a tragedy unfold. He has his arms crossed over his chest and his face is tight. Listen to the script, he says. I look at the table. There is a woman speaking. She is wearing a smart blazer and she has a tablet in front of her. She looks like a consultant. The data is clear, she says. Her voice is calm, professional. If we keep using words like sin or judgment, we are going to lose the under 40 demographic. It is a branding nightmare. We need to shift the focus to personal journey and self-actualization. We need to make the gospel inclusive by removing the barriers of traditional morality. A man at the other end of the table nods. He looks like a pastor, but he talks like a CEO. Exactly, he says. We are not changing the message. We are just updating the language for a modern audience. We have to show them that God's love is about acceptance, not about change. If we tell them they have to repent, they will just go to the Life Center down the street. We have to compete. I am an atheist. I am 32 years old, and I have spent my whole adult life reading scripts designed to make people feel comfortable enough to give me their money. I know what this is. This is a rebrand. This is what happens when the sales team realizes the product is too hard to sell, so they just change the label on the box. Jesus moves. He walks to the table, and he looks at the tablet the woman is using. They are editing the truth, he says. I see the spirit realm again. It is different here. It is not shadows on shoulders or a gray mist. It is an oily black substance that is leaking out of the vents in the ceiling. It is slow and thick. It is dripping onto the table, onto the people's hands, onto the words they are typing. Where it touches them, they become blind. I do not mean their eyes stop working. I mean their hearts go dark. I see a man at the table who is trying to speak up. He looks uncomfortable. He says, "But what about the word? What about what is written?" The others look at him like he just said something embarrassing. The oily black substance creeps toward him. It wraps around his throat. "That is the old way," the woman says. She smiles, but it is a cold, plastic smile. "We are in a new season. We have to be on the right side of history." Jesus hits the table with his hand. The sound is like a gunshot, but the people do not hear it. They are calling the poison medicine, he says. He turns to me, and his eyes are like two burning coals. The grief has turned into something else now. It is a righteous, heavy anger. It is the anger of a father watching someone feed his children bleach and tell them it is milk. They are telling people they can stay in their chains and call it freedom, he says. They are offering a crossless love that cannot save anyone. Without the truth of what is broken, there can be no healing. They are promising them life while they lead them to a grave. I look at the people at the table. They think they are being compassionate. They think they are being loving. But as I watch, I see the oily darkness completely covering the room. It is so thick now that I can barely see Jesus standing next to me. "This is the final warning, John," he says. His voice is a vibration that shakes my very soul. When my people stop calling sin what it is, they lose the power to help anyone get out of it. They become just another club, just another business. He takes my hand and pulls me out of the room. The boardroom disappears. We are back on the glass floor. The map of the world is below us, but it is different now. The yellow lights are starting to merge. They are forming a grid of sickly artificial light that is covering the whole world. The bright, pure lights are small. They are scattered. They look like tiny stars in a very dark night. "Look at the children," Jesus says. "I see a scene on the map. It is a youth group. A kid is crying. He is struggling with something deep, something that is tearing him apart inside. He is looking for an answer. He is looking for a way to be different. The leader of the group puts a hand on his shoulder and says, "It is okay. God made you this way. You do not have to change. Just be yourself." I see the kid's face. He does not look relieved. He looks abandoned. He looks like he just asked for a life jacket and they gave him a bag of lead. They are stealing their hope, Jesus says. He looks at me and I feel like I am being burned. It is not a painful burn, but it is a heat that is taking everything out of me. Every cynical thought, every "I am just a telemarketer" excuse, it is all being melted away. "John," he says, "time is not what you think. The window is closing. I do not want to go back," I say. My voice is thick. I am an atheist, but I do not want to leave him. I do not want to go back to the cubicle and the burnt coffee and the rain. I want to stay here in the heat. "You have to tell them," he says. "But I am nobody." I yell. I am shouting now. I am crying, and I do not even know why. "I do not even believe in you." He smiles. It is a sad, beautiful smile. "You saw," he says. "That is all that matters. You saw the sales hooks. You saw the smog, you saw the idols, you saw the boardroom. Tell them that I am coming, and my heart is heavy for my house." He puts both hands on my shoulders. The heat becomes a roar. It sounds like 1,000 jet engines. The map of the world disappears. The glass floor disappears. "Wait," I scream. But he is gone. Suddenly, I am falling. Really falling this time. It is not a fast descent. It is a violent, spinning drop. I am tumbling through the purple tunnel, but it is cold now. The purple is turning into a jagged, electric blue. I feel my body. It is a heavy, cold weight. It feels like a suit of armor that is too small for me. I feel the floor of the call center. I feel the keys of the keyboard against my cheek. I hear the beeping of the auto dialer. "Mrs. Gable?" a voice says. It is my supervisor, Dave. Gian, buddy, wake up." I try to breathe, but my lungs are locked. I am gasping. I am fighting for air. He is having a heart attack. Someone call 911. I hear the screams. I hear the chairs scraping on the floor. I hear the sound of the Seattle rain hitting the roof of the warehouse. And then everything goes white again. But this time, it is the white of a hospital ceiling. I've heard a lot of people describe that pull back to the body, but Jian's description of his body feeling like a suit of armor that is too small is a detail that has come up in a handful of stories from people who work very physical or high-stress jobs. It is like the soul gets used to being light, and the return is almost more painful than the departure. I am sitting here thinking about that boardroom. I've read comments from people for months now who feel like their churches are pivoting away from the hard stuff. I always thought it was just a cultural thing, but hearing Jian describe it as an oily darkness, it makes me wonder if there is a spiritual strategy behind the rebrand. I've noticed a pattern in these stories where the observer is always someone whose professional life prepared them to see the specific deception. I want to know, if you have a job that involves finding the truth beneath the spin, have you ever seen something that didn't feel like just a corporate choice, but a spiritual one? The lights are too bright. The smell of the hospital is like a punch to the face. It is bleach and latex and sickness. I am in a room. St. Jude's cardiac wing. I know the name because it is written on the whiteboard at the foot of my bed. There is a nurse there. She is checking my vitals. "Welcome back, Jian," she says. Her voice is soft, but it sounds like thunder to me. I try to talk, but my throat is raw. It feels like I swallowed broken glass. How long? I wheeze. "You were out for a while," she says. "Your heart stopped for nearly 7 minutes in the office. They didn't think you were coming back." I look at my hands. They are pale. They have IV lines running into them. They are the hands of a 32-year-old man who nearly died. I am an atheist. I'm telling myself this right now. Jian, you had a lack of oxygen to the brain. You had a hallucinatory experience based on cultural religious tropes. It was a dream, a very vivid, very strange dream. But I can still feel the heat on my shoulders. I can still see the oily darkness on the boardroom table, and I can still see the map. I look out the window. It is dark. It is Wednesday, June 17th. 2 days. I have been in this bed for 2 days, drifting in and out of sleep. My phone is on the nightstand. I reach for it, but my arm is too weak. The nurse sees me. "You need to rest," she says. "You have had a major cardiac event." I do not care about the event. I care about the map. I close my eyes and I can still see the sickly yellow lights covering the cities. I can see Seattle glowing with that fake artificial color. I think about Mrs. Gable. I think about the security packages I was trying to sell her. I think about the preacher on the stage. It's all the same thing, I think. It's all just a pitch. But Jesus wasn't pitching anything. He was just grieving. I'm 32. I am a telemarketer. I do not have a church. I do not even have a Bible. I am lying in this bed and I am shaking. The nurse thinks I am cold, so she brings me another blanket, but it is not the cold. It is the weight. Jesus said I was a witness. He said I just had to say what I saw. But who is going to listen to a guy from a call center? Who is going to listen to an atheist who saw the King of Kings in a boardroom? I look at the clock on the wall. The second hand is moving. Tick, 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 tick. "The window is closing," I whisper. The nurse looks at me. "What was that, Jian?" I don't say anything. I just turn my head and look at the rain on the glass. I am alive. But the world feels very thin now. It feels like a script that is being edited in real time. I haven't checked my voicemail. I haven't called my mom. I haven't even seen Dave. I am just lying here, waiting for the heat to come back. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to go back to cubicle 412. I don't think I can. The doctor is standing at the end of my bed. His name is Dr. Eris. He has a clipboard and he is looking at my charts. He is doing a performance review on my heart. He is talking about ejection fractions and beta blockers. He is reading from a script he has used 1,000 times. "You had an idiopathic cardiac arrest, Jian," he says. "That is doctor speak for we have no idea why your heart stopped. Death, but it did." I look at him and for a second his face blurs. I see the oily darkness from the boardroom for a split second dripping from his stethoscope. I blink and it is gone. It is just a regular doctor in a regular hospital. I am an atheist. I am trying to tell myself that the hallucinations are continuing. My brain is still misfiring. That is the only logical explanation. But then I look at the wall behind him. I see the map. It is not really there on the drywall, but it is like my eyes are projecting it. I see the sickly yellow lights of the churches in Seattle. I see the one that looked like a stadium. I see the warehouse with the Edison bulbs. They are glowing in my mind like a fever. We want to keep you for another 48 hours for observation, Dr. Eris says. I nod. I do not have anywhere else to go. I cannot go back to the office. I cannot imagine putting that headset back on. I cannot imagine pushing a home security package on Mrs. Gable while the world is burning with that artificial light. Jesus said the window is closing. I look at my phone. I have 17 missed calls. Most of them are from Dave. One is from my girlfriend, Sarah. She is coming by later. She does not know. She thinks I just fainted from the stress. How do I tell her? How do I tell Sarah that I saw the guy from the Sunday school stories? How do I tell her that he is not a story, but he is the only thing in the universe that feels solid? Everything else, this bed, the monitor, the rain, Dr. Eris, it all feels like it is made of paper. It feels like if I reached out and pushed hard enough, my hand would go right through it. I am a telemarketer. My job is to talk, but I have never felt more quiet in my life. Someone in the comments a few weeks ago asked why these messages always seem to go to ordinary people instead of leaders. And sitting here with Jian's account, I think I see it. If Jesus had shown those things to one of the pastors in the boardroom, they probably would have tried to find a way to spin it. They would have tried to fit it into their growth strategy. But Jian has no strategy. He just has the memory of the heat on his shoulders and the sight of a bad sale on a global scale. I have gotten a handful of these now, where the person comes back and their whole world feels thin to them. It is a detail that stays with me, this idea that the afterlife is the real reality, and we are the ones living in a script. I am lying here and I'm thinking about the seeds. I am thinking about the woman with the credit card. I wonder if she is still sitting in that stadium. I wonder if she is still waiting for her tenfold return. I feel a sudden sharp pain in my chest. Not a heart attack, but a different kind of pull. It is the grief. It is the same grief I felt coming off of him. He is not just a king. He is a father who's being locked out of his own house. That's what I saw. I saw 1,000 doors being slammed in his face, and every door had his name written on it in gold letters. I am 32. I have no followers. I have no influence. I have a Twitter account with 50 people on it, and half of them are bots. But I cannot unsee the oily darkness. I cannot unsee the shadows on the shoulders. I have to do something. I have to say it. I pick up my phone. My hands are still shaking so bad I almost drop it. I open a voice memo. My name is Jian. I say into the mic. My voice is a whisper. I am an atheist, or I was. 2 days ago, I died at my desk in Seattle, and I have a message. I stop. I look at the record button. The little red light is blinking. Watch the sales, I whisper. Watch the smog. I'm just a guy in a hospital gown. I have a scar on my chest and a debt I cannot pay. But I know the difference between a pitch and the truth now. I close my eyes. For a second, the hospital room disappears, and I feel the heat again. I feel the solid weight of his hand on my shoulder. I believe in you, he had said. I'm not an atheist anymore. I do not know what I am. I do not think there is a word for what I am yet. I am just a witness. I hit save on the memo. I don't know who I'm going to send it to. I don't know if I will ever have the guts to play it for anyone. But the window is closing. And for the first time in my life, I am not worried about the quota. I'm just worried about the lights. Jan's story adds one more piece to what I have been gathering on this channel. It lines up with a few others in how he describes that thinness of the world after he came back. But the thing I am left sitting with is whether the warnings he saw are common, or if they were only shown to him because he was the only one who would recognize them for what they were, a series of high-pressure sales tactics. I keep wondering if the afterlife meets us where our skills are sharpest to show us the truth. If you have been through something like this and you come from a world of law or finance or something where you are trained to see the catch in a promise, I would really like to hear it. It honestly helps me figure out whether what I'm noticing about these tailored warnings actually holds up. Leave it in the comments. It honestly helps me think. What stays with me from Jian is that image of the solid Jesus in a world that suddenly felt like it was made of paper.